Another domino has fallen in former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's failed climate change agenda. Quietly, just before Christmas, Prime Minister Mark Carney decided to end the planned export ban on single-use plastics. Single-use plastics have been banned domestically since 2023, and they were set to be banned as exports beginning December 20th, 2025. Thankfully, the Carney government saw the light and decided not to move forward with it. The reason the government decided not to move forward with the ban is simple. The government said that the economic damage it would cause Canada's single-use plastics industry simply didn't make sense because companies in other countries would simply manufacture these goods and export them to displace Canadian goods. So essentially, the government argued that just because Canada stopped producing doesn't mean that some other country and companies in other countries wouldn't fill the void. Now let's hope that the government actually uses this logic and follows this logic in other areas. For example, when Justin Trudeau was still Prime Minister, the leaders of Germany and Japan came to Canada and said they wanted Canada to produce more liquefied natural gas to displace countries like Russia. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the time said that there was no business case for doing so. The same thing has been done with Canada's oil industry. The Trudeau government passed law after law trying to prevent new pipelines from being built so that we could export more Canadian oil abroad. And the rationale that the Liberals have used, these radical climate change activists in the Liberal Party have used, is simply to say if we don't build it, it will stay in the ground. But the reality is, to use the government's same logic on the plastics export issue, if we don't do it, someone else will. There is global demand, and if we don't produce our oil, if we don't produce our liquefied natural gas, other countries will simply step up and fill the void. So let's hope the Carney government actually uses the logic that they've been using for ending the export ban on single-use plastics and applies it to other areas such as energy. The single-use plastics issue, again, simply doesn't make sense domestically. Banning single-use plastics has not been a panacea for the environment. It has not been a good thing for the environment. You have to use a paper bag 42 times for it to actually make sense environmentally instead of using a single-use plastic bag. And you have to use one of those cotton bags that most people bring to the grocery store over 7,000 times in order for it to have the same impact environmentally that a single-use plastic bag would have had. We all know that those aren't actually being used to that extent, and so we're actually harming rather than helping the environment. So it's time for more common sense in Canada. It's time to embrace the logic that the government has laid out, that it doesn't make sense to not produce things at home if it's going to be simply produced abroad. And it's time to end the domestic plastics ban, which has actually been damaging for the environment.